Welcome to African Today, the voice of a changing continent. We bring you the stories shaping Africa's present and future, from breaking news and bold analysis to culture, innovation, and voices on the ground. We're here to inform, inspire, and amplify the heartbeat of Africa every single day. Thank you for stopping by the channel. We hope you enjoy our video. Let's begin. 3 West African countries, Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, have finalized their exit from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. Another thing they have in common? All 3 countries are under junta rule after military coups that took place in recent years. They have since formed their own union, the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. Why have these 3 countries exited ECOWAS, and is this a crisis point for the regional bloc? Catherine Zuki is joined by Beverly Ochieng, Senior Analyst for Francophone Africa at Control Risks and a Senior Associate with the CSIS Africa program to unpack these questions and more. They discuss the state of politics and security in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, 130. Why the leaders of these military juntas are popular at home and across Africa, 440. What drove the decision to exit ECOWAS and what this means for unity in the region, 737. How the AES is using arts, culture, and media to self-legitimize. How the Pan-African, decolonial rhetoric of the leaders of AES is translating into their governance choices, 2411. If the AES Confederation is strong enough to weather rough international winds on their own, 2849. The state of Africa's legacy institutions today and how responsive they are to shifting regional politics and the collapsing post-World War II order, 3715. This arid Sahel region that covers 8 countries stretching from the desert to the savannah has been under turmoil for decades. Between desertification, poverty, and violent extremism, Sahelian countries have been struggling to maintain stability and foster sustainable development. In the past 5 years, several of the countries have experienced recurring military coups and social uprisings within their territories. A military coup took place in Mali in May 2021, followed by another in September 2022 in Burkina Faso and in July 2023 in Niger. All 3 leaders are military men who claim to have taken power to stabilize their countries and fight against jihadists. They also state that their rule is transitionary and that civilian elections will be organized in due course. In September 2023, these 3 nations came together to begin talks on the creation of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES, aimed at a mutual defense agreement. Following the establishment of the charter, the member countries went to work on the initiatives under the organization and held their first summit in July 2024 in Niger. The creation of AES was met by the large support of the members' populations. The streets of Niamey, the capital of Niger, were full of supporters of the 3 military leaders and the new direction of their countries. What was notable was also the brandishing of signs stating France out of the Sahel or No to France. This is important imagery to help understand part of the dynamic that led to the coups and disruptions in these Sahelian countries. All 3 nations are former French colonies, and France maintained a strong diplomatic, political, and cultural hold on them. France also had a large presence in the Sahel countries with military bases in Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Chad, with a mandate to fight insurgencies and maintain peace. Following years of this presence with no noticeable changes, local populations led protests against the presence of foreign troops. The uprisings led to anti-French and anti-imperialist sentiments that became even more palpable with the departure of French troops in all 3 countries and the expulsion of French ambassadors in Niger and Burkina Faso. In the past 2 years, these sentiments have translated into the departure of French citizens who were in the country for non-political reasons. These nations are moving away from their colonial ties with France and seeking partnerships with new actors such as Russia. Other foreign powers such as the United States Armed Forces have also left Niger this year as ties between the Sahelian states and Russia strengthens. The creation of AES also meant the nation's departure from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. This rupture led to more strife between the 2 blocs, accusing each other of destabilizing the region. The first summit of AES took place just before an ECOWAS meeting, thus sending a strong message of their determination to create and establish this new alliance. The nations were also part of the G5 Sahel, a coalition of 5 countries, Chad, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mauritania, to fight against extremism. Due to a lack of funding, the organization has not been able to meet its objectives. The new political and diplomatic direction of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger are reshaping the Sahelian region and indirectly the African continent. The relations between France and Sahelian nations have been an unequal and paternalistic stronghold. As it was during the colonial era, the current approach is still a sphere of influence. This post-colonial influence is being rejected by a new generation born during the independence era. This is also a generation that is more than ever involved and vocal in national politics. The social uprising on inadequate governance and security issues and holding the leadership accountable, leading to coups, has been largely led by the youth in the 3 nations. In Burkina Faso, for example, the current leader was 34 years old when he took power and is the youngest head of state in Africa. The world is witnessing a diplomatic shift whereby ties with the colonial power have been broken and new partnerships are being sought after. The search for new partners also lies in equality and equity in collaboration. Amid the departure of France and the United States, other powers such as Russia are moving in presenting itself as a viable partner that will respect the equality that Sahelian nations are seeking. Russia seems to be also influencing the local populations. During protests in the 3 countries, with the signs asking France to leave, protesters waved Russian flags and voiced their support for this potential partnership. The widespread support of Russia began years prior in the West Central region. The involvement of the Wagner Group in the fight against extremism paved the way for political and diplomatic ties and influence in the region. At this stage, the question remains whether these 3 Sahel as AES will officialize its relations with Russia. The creation of AES is the physical manifestation of this diplomatic shift being led by its members. As the alliance builds itself and establishes its mechanisms in the region, the road will be arduous. The nations need to gain trustworthy partners within the international community. Furthermore, ending their alienation from ECOWAS is the first step to promoting stability and regional reintegration. Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, through the AES, are moving away from traditional diplomacy and redefining the trajectory of the entire region. As the AES establishes itself, it is probable that other neighboring countries join them, thus increasing their membership and strength. This organization could be the starting point of new Sahelian diplomacy led by the principles of equality and newfound independence from its former colonizer. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe to help grow the channel. Until next time, see you soon.